Who doesn't love a good mystery to read? This one involves a brutal murder set in 19th century New England, and the author, Kitty Burns Florey, is here to tell us more about it. Her book, The Writing Master, a Novel. What I love most about this book is that it is set right here in New Haven.
Yes, I couldn't set it anyplace else. I love New Haven. I lived here when I was writing it. And New Haven, when I moved here in 1970, I was so impressed with the beauty of the architecture in this city and how interesting it was and how much remains of the 19th century.
Right, the opening scene
on the New Haven Green.
Is right on the green.
Yep. What my hero is a writing master, which means that he will write letters for people who are illiterate, and there were lots of them, of course, in 1856. So he sets up on the green with his little outfit, his ink and his pen and his paper, and he'll write letters for people. So it starts out where he's writing a letter for a mysterious and rather shady character, and that sets the plot in motion.
It really does. And that first scene is where you introduce us to the two major characters.
Yes.
So the two major characters are Charles Cooper and Lily Prescott. So it's a love story and a murder mystery all at this.
Yes, it is. It is. I've always wanted to write a mystery. I never have, and so I thought, here's my chance to combine a historical novel. You have to have a love story, of course, and also a murder that takes place in Hamden, where I lived for a long time.
All right, let's tell everybody just a little bit about the plot. We don't want to give everything away, but let's share what this is about.
Well, the writing master, Charles Cooper, meets a mysterious woman on the New Haven Green after he has written a letter for this guy who is a bit disreputable. And as a result of knowing both these people, things happen to Charles. He gets involved in solving the mystery, and he gets very involved with Lily Prescott, a woman with a mysterious past. And it goes on from there. Charles is, I think, an absolutely delightful character. I really fell in love with him. He's kind of a nerd, maybe what you would call a nerd in 1856.
Oh, you brought up the penmanship. I mean, obviously he has beautiful penmanship, and that is why he's the
he writes letters for people, and he teaches it. He's a teacher of it. In business schools at that time, the important thing to learn besides accounting and stuff like that was to have beautiful penmanship, because that's how you communicated.
Well,
that was all
that
they
really
had.
spoke to me, because as you know, not many people do that anymore. Who actually writes notes?
Nobody.
Everybody.
The writing master
is,
it's a spin-off from my previous book, which was called Script and Scribble, The Rise and Fall of Handwriting, where I really wrote a history of handwriting and what has happened to it, which means that we're losing it. So I kind of invented Charles as somebody who lived in the day when it was really important, if you were going to succeed, to have good penmanship.
Well, let's get back to the story. The brutal murder involves a family.
Yes, and one of the interesting things to me was writing about mental illness in the 19th century and how it was dealt with. And it was a very transitional time, because people who were considered mentally ill, and that didn't necessarily mean they were, but they were difficult in some way, were basically incarcerated and treated like criminals. And the conditions were really brutal. But there was a movement at the time toward treating them in a more humane way. And so I have managed to put a character who received both kinds of treatments, two characters.
Yeah.
The hero's mother, who was just a woman. She was unhappy. She was unhappily married. She was unhappy being stuck at home with all these kids. And there must have been lots of women like that in the mid-18th and mid-19th century. So she was put away.
And then the suspect of the murder.
He has escaped from the same institution which I invented. It's up near Middletown. Why not? And I completely fabricated it, but it was certainly based on contemporary accounts of mental hospitals. And so he escapes from there, and then that's when things start to happen.
Okay, I got to tell you, I was surprised by the ending of the book. I thought it was going to end one way, and it didn't.
Don't give it away.
I don't want to give it away, because it really is a good book. You have to read it. You really do. I understand you're writing a sequel to this?
I am. It takes place 30 years later, and a character who is a baby in this book, as you may recall. It starts with a baby, the mysterious baby. She is grown up.
Can I say her name? It's Prudence.
Her name is Prudence.
Prudence,
Ann Prescott.
Okay.
She shows up in the sequel, which is called The Italian Soprano. So a lot has happened to Prudence. She comes back to America from Italy, and to investigate her mother's life there. And things happen. She's quite difficult.
You have to send me the sequel.
I will, sure.
I really want to read that. All right, you have a book signing coming up celebrating National Handwriting Day.
Which I'm sure everybody knew that January 23rd is National Handwriting Day.
Yes, and where's your book signing?
It's at the Alice Bushnell House in Madison, the Historical Society, but it's sponsored by R.J. Julia.
And then the date of that is?
It's January 23rd at 7 o'clock.
Again, the book is The Writing Master. It was a lovely book to read. Thank you so much for writing it.
Thank you for having me here. It
You're
was great
welcome,
fun.
Kitty. Great fun to have you. Don't go away. There's more Connecticut Style right after this.